Hey everyone, thank you for coming. It is Tuesday. It's Octa Day. I'll be back in a few hours with another video talking about macro and crypto and everything else. But let's talk about Bitcoin first. Exclusive Bitcoin daily only video. We have more records broken. We'll touch on those. We've got more adoption. We have more ETFs. Hong Kong is back. They started stacking. Whales are stacking. Banks are on the brink and Bitcoin likes a crisis. Remember that. What else? Some new target zones, not only from Van Eck, but also tech dev. Some little bit of macro stuff. And we had 15 days of inflows into these ETFs. So let's get at it, everybody. And Bitcoin is up $2,000 today. Okay, it's one of these 15 days every year that really matter. And this video is called Tapping Glass because it's a pattern I've seen all my life. Sometimes when you have resistance levels, you've got to hit it a few times before it breaks through. But let's get into it. Thank you all. And thank you to the mods in the chat too. First of all, Kepra Anu says, Patreon, love heart. Thank you for being here. Always wondering what that meant. Now I know. See, I'm learning. Learning my emojis. Old dog, new trick. Not bad. Let's look at Bitcoin monthly returns so far. All right, let's recap May because May is over. We are now the 4th of June and Bitcoin is already up 5.2% in the first 3 and a bit days of June so far. We'll take that. When you add those two together, it erases, of course, the negative April we had so far. This year has been bonkers. Absolutely crazy. And people still want more, but that's okay. Let's talk about some of the news. First of all, we've been talking about records being broken all the time. This is from Nate Garaki. iShares Bitcoin ETF officially crossed the $20 billion in asset mark. The fastest ETF ever to hit this mark. It's not even close. Less than 20 weeks for this to happen. And again, that shows you that the world needs something else, needs a hedge, needs something to combat the crisis, needs another source of alpha. The demand is just beginning. And there's so much news today, I'm not even able to cover it all. But anyway, let's talk about the big stories. This is the $2.4 billion in 15 days from Eric Balchunas. Again, 15-day streak, 2.4 billion. I tried to calculate how many retail investors that would represent. And the answer is tens of millions. Tens of millions. And year-to-date net is $14 billion. And that is after Grayscale dumping 340,000 Bitcoin. Again, if you're not impressed with these ETFs, they've completely smashed records. Now, from Bob Lucas as well, just to get a touch point on where we are, the Bitcoin 4-year cycle is on month 19. That is correct. A lot of people think the bull market just began, and I've been hammering for a long time. No, we're halfway through. Now I've got somebody else supporting me in this as well. Shout out to Bob Lucas. Prior cycles topped out at 35 months. So we are past the midpoint of rising portion. Really can't express enough just how bullish this setup is here, with reaccumulation occurring, building foundation from where the next major expansion begins. Well said, Bob Lucas. I took the liberty of calculating how far we are through the bull. We are 54% complete, everybody. Assuming this time is the same, but I think this time is different. And again, two ways this could go. We could top out earlier than expected, or we could go up for 8 years. We'll know closer to the time. Either way, it's very bullish. Next, more adoption news. University of Austin accepts Bitcoin for tuition. And they're building a Bitcoin long-term fund. And this is one of many. Stanford have a little fund with some Bitcoin allocation as well. And many will follow suit. Again, game theory is on. I hope that's very clear. Speaking of game theory, Thailand just joined the fold. The regulator approves a Bitcoin ETF fund. It'll launch probably sometime in July. Not sure of the exact date, but that is big. Yet another domino to fall. Okay. And Hong Kong. Yes, bit of a lackluster start, but they came back. China AMC alone bought 457 Bitcoin, worth about $32 million yesterday. And it may sound like small potatoes, but 457 Bitcoin is more than 450 Bitcoin daily issuance. And that's one fund in one place, everybody. This thing is scarce, all right? One tiny fund in one tiny far-flung place consumes more than daily issuance. Big news. And VanEck came out, and they believe a lot of talk about gold and gold valuation of Bitcoin since Shamath talked about it in the All-In Pod on Friday. But Bitcoin will become at least half the market cap of gold, says VanEck's CEO. And the question is, what is it now? Well, Bitcoin market cap is 1.4 trillion. Gold is about 15.9 trillion. From Bitcoin Archive, you calculate the math. I didn't have to do it. It's $400,000 price target. Not bad. Not bad. When you could have bought it for $15,500 a year and a half ago, or 19 months ago. Let's not quibble about a month between friends here. Although the armchair critics on the internet will always come after you if you ever make a mistake. I'm well aware of that. So I try and minimize my mistakes. And this is the chart from All-In Pod that triggered a lot of this gold talk. And these are their price targets. Basically, the quick summary of this is short-term price target 1 to 3 month post-halving. Not much happens. 6 to 12 month post-halving, substantial price appreciation. We're still not there yet. We have another 45 days to go till we get out of that kind of 3 month post-halving. But it could happen earlier because there's more demand. Long-term, 18 months post-halving historical trends suggest significant price increases with previous cycles showing returns of 45x, 28x, and 8x. If we have a mirror of the average of the last two cycles, cycle 2 and 3, that takes us to 497,499, which is higher than VanEck's target. We don't know where this is going to go, but either way, it's going to be exciting. And I always say, Bitcoin loves a crisis. This is from Newsbreak. $517 billion in unrealized losses hit U.S. banking system as FDIC warns 63 lenders are on brink of insolvency. By the way, the FDIC are normally the last to know how many banks are going to hit the wall. That's the last person the bank will call and say, hey, we're in trouble here. 63 banks have been warning. They keep on turning the screws. They keep on ratcheting up the pressure, and that will result in breakages. And then people are concerned, oh, well, if the banks break, will it cause a recession? Will it impact Bitcoin? No, it's actually good. All roads lead to Bitcoin. These things actually help. Makes people nervous about the current traditional finance system, and they seek out a new finance system, which is Bitcoin. Now, another interesting twist. ECB are set to cut rates this week, and not a big cut, but could be quite big. Now, why do we care? Okay, so first of all, all along, ECB, Bank of Japan, Bank of England, Fed, all have been in lockstep following each other. What happens when they are not? This is the key here. So a couple of things. One, it will strengthen the US dollar, which will increase demand for US assets like stocks, etc. But it will make US exports more expensive, potentially hurting exports, and that will hurt companies in the US. And the divergence in monetary policy could lead to a lot of forex volatility between different currencies like the euro and the dollar, and this could prompt interventions by the central banks. This, although it's good for Europe to do a rate cut, it will not be good for the dollar. It'll be good for the dollar in terms of appreciation, but it will not be good for the US economy, I believe, over the long term. Let's look at some charts. And thank you as well, Sean Donnelly, for being here, and K8 and everybody else in the chat. First of all, the big chart of the day is from me. I tweeted this earlier. I call it the tapping the $70,000 glass. Third time is a charm. It's a very crude, little simple chart over all the times we've gone and breached the $70,000 level. As I speak right now, Bitcoin is at $70,700, up over $2,000 for the day. The question is, when will it stop mean reverting? And we also have to look at, the reason I look at all the ETF buying pressure, because that eventually bubbles up and does directly attribute to about 85% of the price action that I calculated before. And I'll update that model again to show you the exact impact of the ETFs. Also, another view of the world that I like to look at every now and again is the Bitcoin monthly candles, and where we are, where we have come from. If we look at previous cycles, we are way higher and way more consistent and way more stable than the past. In the past, we hit the top and came right back down. This time, because we got that constant bid, the buying pressure, it keeps on going up, tapping that glass. Ding, 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 ding. You can see here, we're nearly 4 months now tapping this glass. It's only a matter of time before we break out. And after that, crazy times. And shout out to Bitcoin Munger. The 1,000 plus Bitcoin whales have been stacking hard since early March. Remember what happened early March? Yes, the price went down and we chopped a bit sideways. But look at the 1,000 plus whales. They are up and to the right. And of course, a lot of this is driven by the ETFs. But the point is, most of the ETF buying action is not retail. It's pension funds, it's hedge funds, it's you name it. And that's a problem. Now we've got all the treasuries coming in too. Titan of Crypto, not Krypton. Not enough coffee today. Still on my second. Bitcoin new target zone is now 94,000 to 109,000, which is extremely high. Excuse me for that phone call. And Bitcoin will be above this key level pretty soon. It's targeting higher as it goes. Again, tapping that glass concept. And by the way, per this chart, we get to this target zone if Titan of Crypto is correct, 94,000 to 109,000 by September. Remember, risk happens fast. We just saw Bitcoin go up $2,000 in a matter of a couple of hours. Okay? Couple of hours. This thing is scarce. Very, very, very scarce. And look at all the game theory happening around the world. What an exciting time to be alive. Now, there's another big factor from Tech Dev 2. Super Soul Man, thank you for coming. We're watching a breakout. No, so we're watching a breakout of a 5-year wedge against liquidity here. So if you look at the previous charts, I did share this last week from Tech Dev because I really, really like it. It's probably my new favorite chart. It's basically the bottom line is Bitcoin divided by M1 money supply. And the top line is the Bitcoin price action. Now, 2 previous cycles, we had blow off tops. Last one, we didn't because of manipulation and scammers in the space. This time, though, it's setting up for a blow off. Now we also have M2 increasing. And once the money printing goes into high gear, we are set. Ladies and gentlemen, we are set. This is why. Let me go back to this chart. Where is it? This one. 63 banks are on the way out, about to hit the wall. Commercial real estate has hit the wall. ISM manufacturing numbers are in the toilet, like really badly in the toilet. A lot of really bad stuff happening. And again, money printing is going to go into high gear. They were doing stealth printing for a long time. Now it's just going to be, let's fire up all the machines at once. And we had 15 straight days of inflows. We're nearly at a record level here. $2.3 billion into the 9 new ETFs alone in 15 days. And are we going higher? If you look at the trend of that chart, it is down. The first part was very busy. And then a bit of a breather for 4 days, but still positive, including some big dumpage for Grayscale. But the other ETFs gobbled it all up. And by the way, yesterday was a big Fidelity buy day, which means today is a big BlackRock buy day. That's just how it works from me analyzing 99 days of patterns. All right, new Bitcoin playlist is here. If you only like Bitcoin stuff, Bitcoin Black Hole time. This is day 99 of raw numbers. And you can see here, all of this adds up to that big chunk of change over the last 15 days. It's very, very positive, including 2 $100 million plus dumpage days from Grayscale, which was gobbled up by the other players. Biggest day so far of the year is, or of the last 15 days, nearly 300 million by BlackRock in one day. 300 million. It only takes about 35 million, 30 million to buy the entire daily issuance. And that shows you how big this thing is. Macro update. Chart looks a bit messy. Again, going back to day 35 to 40, where there was a lot of action, driven primarily by BlackRock, which was the mirror image of the Grayscale dumpage. But now, as Grayscale bleeds out, there's less of that. And all the others, they all trickle in. 5 million, 10 million here, whatever, a little bit in Hong Kong. It all adds up. And there's more ETFs coming. Yesterday, we had Australia launch a new Bitcoin ETF. Next month, we'll have one in Thailand, then Vietnam, Indonesia, South Korea. It's all happening. And there's only so many Bitcoin to go around. Now, in other news too, after the 15 positive days, you can see here what this looks like. The trend line is still down in pink, obviously as the price of Bitcoin goes up. It gets harder to buy. Grayscale at 0 yesterday. We like that. That's always a win. Because if Grayscale is 0, it means everybody else probably is too. And now all the other pension funds from the 13F filings that saw those that bought Bitcoin, like Wisconsin, are all scratching their heads and they're all buying now. I guarantee you, when we get to the Q2 13F filings, it'll have tons more. That's who's doing the buying now. It's not retail. It's pension funds. And yesterday, 1,528 Bitcoin were pulled from the system. That's a big chunk. That's nearly 4 times daily issuance, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the show for today. I'll be back in a couple of hours. Hope you like the content. When you hit the like, it shows you content like this, not necessarily my content from others. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the mods in the chat. I'll see you all in a few hours. Bye-bye.